Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 194 of the Orange Pill Investor. And today I am going to go through the exercise of trying to create an MSTY inspired synthetic covered call spread in MicroStrategy, trying to build a better mousetrap, abbreviated MSTRAP, not MSTRap. That would just be ridiculous. I'm trying to be serious here. But you'll see when I get there that I was going to put my little twist on it. And after I started putting twist after twist after twist, it looked nothing like the original. I pretty much Frankenstein the shit out of it. But it's still going to be fun. I will go ahead and show you how to set up their version. So first of all, I'm going out to 6 months. And I'm going to sell this put at the money. This will obligate this is a margin account, so it's going to obligate 10 grand. If this was a cash account, you'd have to put up the 13,850 for the share price. Then I'm going to add an at the money call. So the delta on the short put is 37. The delta on the long call is also approximately 37. Now that should be, 0.37. Yeah, 0.63. Sorry. I hate wearing my glasses. All right, so the delta here is 0.63. Delta here is 37. Add those together, that adds up to 1 delta. So that's why this qualifies as a synthetic stock. Because since this times 100, 1 delta is actually 100 delta. And 100 delta is how much you have when you buy 100 shares of anything. So that's why this functions as a synthetic stock. You can shell out and this basically turns out to almost 14 grand again. Was it 13.9? So it's about $100 more expensive than just shilling out the 100 shares. So why would you do this? I don't think as a retail investor, I don't think you really would. This doesn't necessarily make sense unless you can get a better margin deal, which after I watched their video where they explained themselves, it looks like they get crazy margin discounts or something. Like they only had to pay, I think the guy let it slip that they only have to pay like 10%. So instead of this costing 13 grand, I think they only have to pay like 1,300. So this makes complete sense for them. And in that case, they get to leave a bunch more of their cash, not in actual dollars, but they keep securities. So they're earning interest on the securities as well, and not just earning nothing on dollar bills. So for them, makes complete sense because they can buy this synthetic stock for 1/10 of the price of the shares, and they get to leave their collateral that they're putting up for this is also earning interest for them. So that's a win-win for them. I don't think this necessarily makes any sense as a retail investor, but I'm just doing this for fun anyway. Besides that, I'm gonna screw this all up anyway. All right, so that would be step one, forming the synthetic stock. Then they go to a week later. Now this is only 3 days, so the premium is not going to be as good as it would be if you had set this up on a Friday. But if I add not a long call, sell a covered call. If I sell an at the money covered call, and they will go anywhere up to 15% over the price. So they would be willing to go at current price, probably up to like 160. So at 160, you can't get much, 21 cents, or, times 100 is $20. So to me, that's not really worth it. And selling weeklies, the best premium that you're going to be able to get is at the money anyway. Now, this is kind of insane when we're talking about MicroStrategy because you're limiting your upside to 0. And if MicroStrategy rips to 200 a share, then you're going to be out basically 140 to $260 a share, so about 6 grand. So That's kind of wild. But the reason that I would do this, well, the reason they do that is they just pocket this premium and then they will return that to you in the form of a dividend. So that's what this would look like. And if I was going to form this exact covered call strategy, I would go ahead and sell this. And if this was done on Friday, it'd probably be worth about $500 or $600. I would take all of that and then I would reinvest it in long calls. And remember that I said that that was going to pay about $500 or $600 a week. And as a coincidence, at this 6-month long call, these cost about $500 a pop. So every time I sold one of these covered calls at the money, where I'm limiting my upside, I would buy one of these, which has unlimited upside. So it's not going, just one of them is not going to counteract it because this is 0.13 delta. So it's not even going to come close to offsetting the losses. But this is how it would work. And then every Friday, it would be selling this covered call and collecting $500. And as long as the as long as the stock traded sideways, you'd just be printing money. And over, let's see, on 6 months, I would probably do this for 3 months. I don't hold long calls under 3 months. So I think it would be possible to generate premium from this for about 3 months, which is about 12 weeks. And that's $500 times 12. So about $6,000. And let's see, obligating 14,000. Let's see weekly ROI on that. Let's see, 1% would be at $136. So times 4, yeah, almost 4% a week. So that's pretty cool. Now, like I said, I pretty much bastardized this thing. So for me, the first thing that offends my senses is selling a put at 190 days. I never sell any options past 45 days when I can help it. 45 days is the sweet spot, but almost absolutely never more than 60 days. That's when it starts to advantage the buyer, in my opinion. And so I try to unload any of my long calls under 90 days. I sell my options under 45 days and I buy calls greater than 90. And if I bought a call at 91 days and I'm going to sell it at 90, what would be the point? So I would probably want to buy calls at least 6 months out for the most part, just so that I can watch them do something. Now, if I was a momentum trader and I thought the price was going to move today, I might just buy some long calls that expire this Friday. But that's not what this is about, and that's not the kind of trader that I am anyway. So I'm really not up on that strategy. I just know that people do it. So, since selling puts 6 months out pisses me off, then I thought, okay, well, instead of selling this once and getting paid, $3,400, delete that, and I'm going to delete this too while I'm here. What if I sell a weekly? I actually closed a short put in order to get the buying power to do this in the first place. So I was already selling weekly puts in this account, and it's a margin account, so it cost me 10 grand, and I got paid like, well, I can look and see. So I had to close it. Yeah, I got paid like $600. So I think I got like 5% returns on Friday for that at the current price. So selling a put every week makes more sense to me. However, if I put this 0.45 delta with I guess I'll put this back in. With the 0.63 delta, that doesn't sound too bad. That still adds up to 1. However, if you haven't noticed, this is a weekly, so I will be exposed to gamma risk at expiration because delta isn't just going to stay here. Delta is going to get closer and closer to 1 as Friday approaches. And so I will only be able to really profit that entire $500 or $600. And it's just not performing the same way that it would if I had the long call and the short put on the same expiration day. Because if the price goes up to 200 or down to 75, since these both have the same expiration date, these deltas are going to fluctuate in tandem. One's going to go up and the other one's going to go down, and you're still going to have approximately 100, the value of 100 shares of stock. But now that I've screwed this up, if I try to sell weekly puts, but I have one long call, and the price of MicroStrategy fluctuates, this is not going to operate as a synthetic stock. So I've already screwed up MSTY's synthetic stock by doing that. So then I thought, okay, well, if I get rid of that long call, actually, before I get into that, since I'm here, I'll just add in the covered call that I intended to put here anyway. And if you'll notice, I don't have any calls yet. So this naked put plus this naked call is a short strangle. You're making a super, super risky bet that the price of MicroStrategy stays in between them, which this is 137 and 139. So in order to profit off of both of these completely, the price would only be able to go up or down basically $1 in either direction. So this is super specific and risky. But not only that, since I don't have shares and I don't have any long calls, this is a naked call. This exposes a person to infinite risk. So that's why I don't do them. I showed the poor man's covered call yesterday where I went out like 500 days, bought a deep in the money call. And that is another way of creating a synthetic stock, a little bit different than the way that that MSTY did it, but it's a valid process, and that's totally viable. But this is some serious risk that I have to mitigate this. So I've already basically nuked MSTY's synthetic synthetic covered call strategy. I nuked their 6-month put that they sell because I don't sell options out past really 60 days max. And I'm trying to add this at the money covered, call that they do, but it's not covered. So how do I cover this damn thing? If I go back to 6 months, do I put this long call back in? If I do that, I'm still not fully covered. And let's use options profit calculator to see how much this would protect. So you go in here, you put in MSTR, gives you the price. And if I want to buy a February 21st call at the money strike, this is how much it would protect me. So anywhere in green, we're making money. And if the price ripped to 200, this would be worth about 8,000, which would be a $4,000 increase. But bottom line, I could sell it for 8 grand. But what is the damage if the price goes to 200 on that naked call? That's about 6 grand. So the 4,000 extra that I make doesn't really cover this whole 6,000. So one of these is inadequate. It's not the end of the world. It would be a couple grand maybe that I would have to come out of pocket. Let's just check 300 while we're at it. So if the price basically more than doubled and went to 300, this thing would appreciate by 13 grand. And the naked call would wreck me for about 15.6. So still not quite covering it, but really not the end of the world. I could technically form this and not be terribly, terribly worried about infinite losses or whatever. But I might as well just bastardize the strategy even some more, right? So generally when I want to buy long calls, I want to buy as much delta as I possibly can for the same dollar amount. And that is generally all the way up at the top of the chain. But one of these bad boys is only going to cover me for 0.13 delta. That is not even close to being enough. But since I was going to spend $3,800 on that single long call, I can actually afford 9 of these bad boys for the same price. And 9 of these times 0.13 delta is 90 plus 27. That's like 117, 1.17. So this alone would give me enough positive delta to cover and turn this into a synthetic covered call. There's enough delta here. But what's my plan over the next 12 weeks? It's to sell a put and a call every week. And getting $500 a pop is $1,000 a week. Over 12 weeks is 12 grand. So I could technically buy, 10 of these would cost me 4 grand. So I could buy over the next 3 months, I could buy 30 of these. But if I just buy 2 a week, that doesn't cover me now. So if I have the buying power, I can just go ahead and add some up front. I was going to spend $4,000 on one at the money call anyway. So if I get 20 of them, that should absolutely cover me and then some. So let's just check options profit calculator again. And I already put in the numbers. So MSTR, February 25th, 20 contracts. It's going to cost $9,400. And in this case, if the price rips to 200, this is worth 33,000. And if the price rips to, did I say 2 or 300? I meant 200. If the price rips to 3, this will be worth like 109,000, which more than covers any kind of potential losses. So I'm fronting the cost now, but I am anticipating selling a strangle every week for $1,000 a week for the next 12 weeks and basically making the 12 grand that it's going to cost for this protection. Was it 10 would cost 8, so 20 is costing 16. Doesn't quite cover it. But Tasty Trade gives you a little bit of discount when you buy a lot of 20. So I'm going to go ahead and actually it's 3 months it's actually not 10 weeks. It's 12, 13 weeks. Yeah. So let's check the price of this. The put that I was selling at the money was going to cost me 10. And I'm getting 20 of these at $500 a pop. That's another 10. And then over the course of the next 13 weeks, I should be able to recoup about 13 grand. And then hopefully the price of MicroStrategy would go up in that time. If it doesn't, then this turns into a big loser. All right, let's give this a shot. Now, once I've added all of these contracts in, I'm just amplifying the bid-ask spread. So I don't want to pay too much. Uh-oh, rejected. Wonder if it's not even going to let me do this. Didn't even give me the rejected reason, did it? That's rude. All right. Let's see if this is going to go through on if I do like half of the long calls. Or I wonder if it didn't like that strangle. Let's just go 10. This would cost me about 15. Rejected. Brutal. All right. That's annoying as crap. I'm just going to try to. What if I do the strangle by itself? What the hell? How'd I get on CLSK? Oh, this is annoying as shit. All right. Is it going to let me just sell a strangle? Okay. It'll let me sell a strangle. Even though that's a shitload of risk. All right. Let's go to the top of the chain and try to buy 20 long calls. Okay. It just didn't like them together for some reason. It didn't want to let me do these as a package. Well, that's quite annoying. However, got the job done. All right, so got paid 420 and 400 and paid whatever the hell this is. 20 times almost 500. Paid about 10 grand for that. All right. So I set out to create an MSTY covered call, and I ended up just doing almost nothing that they recommend. So if you wanted to set it up, that's how you do it. If you wanted to do it, on your own, you could have picked the, selling the put and buying the call at 6 months at the money, and then selling your covered call anywhere between, for next Friday at the money or up to 15% above the current price. Rinse and repeat every week, and rolling your 6-month options as needed If the price of MicroStrategy did rip, you would have to adjust. But that's how you would do it if you were them. And even in their case, I think I would take that $500 of premium, and instead of just collecting it as premium, I'd probably buy these every week. I'd just buy another one. But in my scenario, I will be selling a strangle every week and collecting about $1,000, and then hoping that that MicroStrategy rips in the meantime. All right, I think that's enough of me screwing up MSTY's strategy, and be good, y'all.